In this podcast, we will discuss the issue of the legacy hammer with its creator and its future owner. And since this is a special occasion, I'm dressed up as my alter ego, the reaction guy. I hope you all enjoy this interview. Sit back, relax, because this is going to get pretty interesting, right? All right. So we're going to get to the most important topic of today. Morozov, you lost against Vitaly. Do you still not have a toilet? Winter is coming, and I'm very worried that you're going to have to go out on that toilet and you may freeze.
Тёма, вот в последнем матче ты против Виталия проиграл, и сейчас очень
Мгм.
интересно, что с туалетом? Он закончен, потому что сейчас зима, и мы очень волнуемся, что ты замерзнешь. Нужно, чтобы он был готов.
Ну, он готов, но он все равно будет на улице стоять. То есть я купил новый. Я, если сейчас получится, даже покажу его.
Hey, Joe, two of those were
So he said it's over, but it's gonna be outside anyway. But he's gonna
Okay.
show.
Если видно, вот видно,
Oh, okay.
Это будет. Okay, yeah, we can see that.
но я его еще, видите, не заносил.
So it's not in the house yet.
Okay, but are we gonna get one in the house, or is not gonna get that? Because if
Ну,
he
мы
isn't, we need to
заканчиваем.
start a GoFundMe.
Потому что если не получается его закончить, нужно по-любому сейчас собирать деньги, потому что это сейчас самое важное. Это
Да,
вот
это точно, это точно.
we're getting
Ну,
it.
Okay, I'm
как
very
получится.
glad to hear that. That's awesome. All
Вы
right.
нас успокоили, короче, все. Самое главное. Теперь можно вот к второстепенным переходить, короче, какие-то там молотки. Go on, buddy.
Okay. So, what does the legacy hammer mean to you personally? And I want you to go first, Devon. I want you to explain how you believe it should operate and what it means to you, and then we'll go to Morozov.
sure. Okay, well, I believe the legacy hammer right now is in a very tarnished state, especially the left-handed legacy hammer after all of this stuff is going on. Okay, and I'm hoping that this show will resolve some of it, probably one way or another. So the legacy hammer was brought about in the year 2017, at a time when so many hopes were in the WAL of bringing the best together. You know, like there have been many great leagues in the past. Today is better than it's ever been. East versus West, better than it's ever been. PAL. PAL did incredible things for arm wrestling. WAL, I mean, we were getting paid. Everybody was, it was beautiful, beautiful times from like 2014 to like 2017. It crumbled. Okay, there have been great arm wrestling things in the past, you know, and what I felt is that we had this dream of bringing the best together, and this is kind of what spurred the idea for the hammer, because the tournament initially was canceled. The tournament was supposed to happen. We lost funding. ESPN pulled out, and so a lot of people just canceled. A lot of people canceled their trips. They can't. The prize money was gone. A few weeks after the turbulence, it got back to like $1,000, and they ended up giving out like little hammers. It was, you know, whatever. They did a patchwork job at the tournament. But in this time period, I came up with the idea that I would bring my hammers to the event. And if anybody beat me, they would take my hammers. At this point, it was still not really the legacy hammer. It was just I was bringing my tournaments to the hammer, and if anybody beat me, they'd have it. Um, what happened is after that, you know, the league kind of crumbled. It came back again. Um, and kind of the deal stayed. Nobody beat me in that tournament, by the way. So I retained my hammers at that tournament. But what happened is we kept on doing it. I ended up going up in weight category because the 225 pound class was gone. There was no more 225. So I I started to pull open once again. I had the left hammer. I had the right hammer. The right hammer is a different story. We'll talk about that at another time. I
Yeah.
ended up losing it to Michael. It's been on a journey. It is now with its rightful owner in Levon Saginashvili. Everything is good. Right hand hammer. Everything is good. The story's been wonderful. So left hand, one of the jobs. So what happened is that the hammer kind of over the next like year or so, no longer, it was never for WAL really. Like when the Legacy Hammer was kind of born, it's not a WAL hammer. It's basically the WAL dream, which is every league's dream to unify, to bring together, to become the place where everyone comes and fights. PAL had that dream. UAL has that dream. Again, Over the Top has that dream. Mike Blue Classic has that dream. Every major promotion wants the best to show up. East versus West is killing it. They're killing it. Okay. So I knew that one of my jobs with that hammer, if this hammer was going to be a thing, if it was going to carry the names of all the lineal champions, it's your job as the hammer holder. It is your purpose as the hammer holder. One, you can make it better. Okay. If you got the hammer, do whatever you want with it. Okay. You want to stamp another league on it. You want to, whatever. I don't care. It's not my hammer anymore. It's not mine. It's I give it to the sport. Gave it to Denis because Denis was the best. Denis was the absolute number one. Everybody knew it. Denis Saplankov, number one in the world. So I brought it to Denis to fight him, right? I thought, like, if anybody is worthy to hold this thing, it's Denis Saplankov. So I bring it to Denis. Denis understands everything. All this bullshit about Denis.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Just say what the hammer means to you.
Okay. Well, basically, the hammer is a lineal trophy. Okay. It holds all the names of the best arm wrestlers handed on from champion to champion, passed via any means, whether it's tournament or super match. It's of their choosing. Doesn't matter. That's basically what the hammer is and means.
Okay. Now I want to ask the same question to Morozov.
It doesn't have ownership to any league or person.
Okay. So you don't own the hammer. WL doesn't own the hammer. It's ethereal, owned by the sport.
Артем, вопрос такой, что вот что значит молот лично для тебя? У Девона ответ был такой, то, что он видит этот молот не как собственность какого-то спортсмена или организации, да, Вал его создал, и он развалился в 2017 году и постепенно. Вопрос для тебя точно такой же. Для Девона это вещь, которая линейно переходит из чемпиона к чемпиону. Чемпион может ее как-то изменять, там, может другую лигу вообще напечатать, да, другое имя, это не важно. Важно то, что он переходит из человека к человеку и обозначает чемпиона на левой руке, ну или направо. Что для тебя значит этот молот лично?
На самом деле я с Девоном в этом согласен, и я готов поддержать его. И для меня это большая честь, ну, что этот молот скоро приедет ко мне, потому что мы уже с Денисом договорились, и скоро его как дальнобойщик привезет мне, короче. Я планирую его, да, поменять, и если я проиграю, например, Виталию, то я его передам дальше. Вот. Ну, почему вот этот сейчас вот шумиха началась, я сразу отвечу, потому что, ну, во-первых, хотелось сделать шумиху, чтобы побольше там, может быть, с Девоном в будущем на этом фоне побороться там, да, но опять же за Дениса заступиться. Я понимаю, что это все часть шоу, и Девон делает все, ну, он делает все хорошо, делает отлично шоу, но иногда просто он грань переходит, не все это понимают, и захотелось немножко такого белого мага сыграть, такого Гендальфа белого, знаешь. А так, в целом, я с Девоном согласен во всем. Согласен во всем, и да, я готов, я внесу изменения в него, как только он приедет, и буду дальше продолжать эту традицию. Понятное дело, что у меня есть 2 пояса, пока 2, возможно, они останутся. И я согласен, Девон сказал, что East West это сейчас на самом деле самая такая лучшая, да, организация. Да. Поэтому, ну, Хаммер это как, ну, молот это, правильно сказано, наследие. То есть мы будем
Да.
передавать его из поколения в поколение. Все, от чемпиона к чемпиону. Я согласен.
So he agrees with you, Devon. He supports the idea of the legacy. And he likes it that it goes to the champion from the champion. He likes and supports it. And it's an honor for him to have the hammer for him. He will make the changes. He will fight with Vitaly. And if he loses, he will give it to Vitaly. He will pass it down and he will try to keep the legacy going. But he thinks that sometimes when you try to make the drama, the views, the eyes, you kind of cross the line sometimes and you forget about it, you know. But overall, he agrees with you. He loves the idea. He agrees that East versus West is on the top. He has the belts, and he will get more or he will lose them. But overall, he agrees. He likes the idea, and he agreed with Dennis. They will bring the hammer to him.
That's great. So let me just say two things. I guess the first thing is, I'm happy you feel this way. You say I do things for clicks and views and maybe I cross the line. I want you to understand that I wasn't fighting necessarily for me. I was fighting for you. I was fighting for Vitaly. I was fighting for Alexander because I personally do not see myself as a world champion. I was fighting for you. And Denis was not getting rid of it. How long should we wait? You know, I've told him, I have messages. I messaged Denis privately for years. I've told his friends, I'm like, yo, tell him to give up the hammer. And he doesn't respond. So what am I to do for the sport? What am I to do? Am I to sit idly back? I don't fight necessarily always for myself. I fight for the champions whose names should be on the trophy.
Он сказал то, что вот вся вот эта драма и то, что он столько разговаривает и спорит, он борется не только за себя, потому что он себя не видит настоящим чемпионом левой руки. Он борется за тебя, за Виталия, за Алижана, потому что вы достойны этого молота. На нем должно быть ваше имя. И он пытался дозвониться, грубо говоря, до Дениса годами, пытался до него как-то добраться через других знакомых. Вот, он просто сражается за вас. Считает, что он должен быть у вас, не у него.
Да, я понимаю. Просто я еще раз говорю, хотелось немножко шоу сделать тоже, э, поэтому начал видео всякие снимать там и понимаешь, а так я в целом поддерживаю, это хорошая идея. И это классно, что, например, там например, 30 лет я там уже не буду выступать, и этот молот будет уже, например, у того, кто только родился, например, понимаешь, только в эту секунду. Будет прикольно.
Сейчас готовится для него, да.
Да.
He's happy and he said that he agreed with he agreed now. He took the videos, he took the talking because he liked the show. He liked it, but he agrees that in like 30 years, when he's not competing anymore, the guy that was just born, he will get that hammer and he'll get his name on it. It's just the future, the possibilities, the legacy. It's just the passing down is he loves it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I think that the sport needs it. And and the beautiful thing that I think should be understood about the hammer is the state it's in right now. It does not need to stay like this. The legacy hammer is an idea. Okay, it's owned by the sport. It's held by our champions. If the champion wishes, like for example, if Artem, when he puts his name on it, wants to stamp East versus West on the hammer, he can do that because this is the league that he wanted in. 20 years from now, if East versus West is dead and there's a new league and it's, arm wrestling worldwide, and it's the biggest thing. 20 years from now, stamp arm wrestling worldwide on there. And all the names, everything flows, to erase things, whatever you can. WL was the beginning. PAL has been a part of the WL of the legacy hammer. PAL has been part of the Legacy Hammer. East versus West will be part of the Legacy Hammer. And from there, who knows? And I'm just curious about one thing, though, Artem. I'm curious about one little thing. And I'm just curious why your tone has changed a little bit.
We will get to questions like this.
And listen. And if he doesn't want to answer, I get it. I get it.
I have the interview paced out, so we'll have easier questions and we'll get spicier near the end. You ask anything you want at the end, but I gotta go by like my program.
Sure, no problem. But this is really,
remember
for me,
this one.
is a very interesting part of it.
You will get to ask the question, 100%.
Yeah.
At the end, I literally have let them ask each other stuff, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question for you, Devon. Do you plan to try and take the left-handed Legacy Hammer back, since it is much more in reach than the right-handed Legacy Hammer for you, since the absence of Levon? Is that something that you anticipate in the future? You're training your left arm now, and you were the number 2 right-handed arm wrestler. It's possible.
My right is way better than my left. My right is way better. And to say that the left hand is more in reach, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Am I training for the Legacy Hammer right now? Look, you always want to be the best, always. I mean, if that's a possibility, I'd take it. But realistically, I don't see myself as there right now. If by somehow I was able to get there again, yeah, sign me up. Okay. I legitimately do believe I could beat Denis. I really do.
I think you could as well, yeah.
You give me the match with Denis and I will fucking crush him. And he can take time, he can prepare. I'll tell you something right now. Before the transfer happens, if Denis wants to pull me at East versus West 15, after the event, before the ceremony, left hand, me weighing in at 105, I'll still beat him, and I wouldn't even put my name on it. I would just take the hammer and I'd give it to Artem.
All right. Well, you
but
heard that, Denis.
I don't think I need to touch the leg.
I think Denis's left is so beat up. Like I don't think he wants that, but he should give up
everybody
the hammer,
makes so many excuses for Denis, like, oh, Denis is so weak. Why is that? Why does everybody talk about how weak Denis is all the time? Is this real? Or is this
I'm
just
saying what he claims?
Party? I mean, I hear all this pity party about Denis. Every time somebody says Denis, oh, love prime Denis. Is Denis just totally falling to shit? Is it really that bad? Because I have a hard time believing that Denis is totally shit. I'm 10 years older than him. I've got way more miles than him. I'll be 105 kilo. I'd still pull him right there. Don't think it's going to get any better for him because I'm training my left. If he ever wants to pull me again, he could pull me right then and there, and I'd just take the hammer and I'd give it to Artem. I wouldn't even put my name on it.
All right. Okay, so next question. Everybody wanted this match. Why did you guys not compete right-handed at King of the Table 12? And I'm going to ask Morozov first.
Вопрос такой, что вот на King of the Table 12 был просто идеальный шанс побороться вам с Девоном. Почему этого не случилось? Что пошло не так?
О, блин. Я, если честно, даже не в курсе, что пошло не так. Может быть, Девон знает. Ну, вообще, как бы, может быть, это в будущем было бы более актуально, чем сейчас, например. Потому что Девон готовится на Олега Петренко. Ну и мне кажется, что на данный момент мне пока еще рановато.
Рановато?
Я думаю так. Я всегда в себе не уверен.
He says he's not sure himself, but he thinks maybe this match would make more sense later, because right now Devon is competing in 105. He's preparing for Oleg, and he still feels like it's a little bit early for him to pull with Devon. He's not so sure in himself.
So Devon, from your perspective, why do you think that match didn't happen? You clearly wanted it. You clearly felt you were ready. I would go as far as to say I think you might have even been the favorite in that match. Why didn't it happen?
I think it would have been a very close match, and I'm not sure if I would have beaten Artem. I think there's a good chance he would have beaten me. I think that it would have been a very good match. That's what I like to hope. He might have killed me. I think would have been a very, very good match. And all I can say for the reason that it didn't happen is it's complicated.
All right. We will
I
leave it
just,
there.
it's a bit complicated.
All right. This is a question for Morozov. Do you think that Denis was wrong for holding onto the hammer for so long if he couldn't compete left-handed to defend it?
Морозов, тебе вопрос. Не кажется ли тебе то, что это было неправильно, то, что Денис столько времени держался за молот, хотя на левой он бороться не мог и не мог его защищать?
Блин, здесь на самом деле я всех вот этих подводных камней не знаю, что там произошло, что там было в письме, но насколько я, ну вот, я видел, выкладывали, да, переведенный
Полное
текст
письмо,
этого
да.
письма, да, что якобы он может делать с ним все, что хочет, он чемпион. Ну, может быть, блин, не знаю, сейчас просто видишь много титулов других, то есть пояса там, да, вот то все. То есть у меня вон вообще щит висит. Первый раз, когда я выиграл титульный поединок, мне дали щит. Вот, еще пояса, 2 пояса. То есть, может быть, поэтому как-то не было нужды передавать его, может быть, не знаю.
Okay, so he's not sure because he's not so deep in the conversation, but he thinks maybe it's because in the letter, from what he saw, the letter said you can do whatever we want with it because you're the champion. And he thinks maybe it's because the East versus West has a lot of different rewards now. The belts, he has a shield on his wall. Maybe that was the reason.
All right. So,
Не
Devin,
знаю,
you
что.
clearly disagree with that.
Clearly disagree. This was conveyed to him many ways in many languages, in Russian, through people. He witnessed the passing of the hammer on the right hand. He was clearly understanding if if he's falling back on the line that says it's yours to do what you want with it and misinterpreted that as his ownership when what that actually means and is clarified a million different ways, a million different times as he can make alterations, then it's just not true. Dennis was fully aware. Dennis is fully aware. If he wants to claim ignorance at this point, whatever. Okay, Dennis claimed ignorance. This is not true. Okay, Dennis was holding the hammer. Okay, this is why I freaked out. Okay, 6 years is too long. Okay, I understood the point. He got sick, no problem. COVID, no problem. King of the table, East versus West. You're starting to compete. You're clearly not the champion. Clearly, Vitaly, Morozov, Alazan, whoever, and he's just holding it. To me, people talk about the sport of arm wrestling. Okay, guys like us on this panel, guys who are watching this, we're very passionate about the sport of arm wrestling. I love arm wrestling. I love the community. I love everything that surrounds arm wrestling. And when somebody does something to the sport which I find harmful, I view them as my personal enemy. Okay, and to me, Dennis's actions were unbecoming of someone who loves the sport of arm wrestling.
So he was an enemy of the sport.
Enemy of the sport.
All right. So now I have a question for
To translate
Morozov
it?
again. I want you to translate to him
Listen, enemy
that
of the sport is a bit harsh. Okay. Dennis is obviously not an enemy of the sport. Okay. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say he's an enemy of the sport, but smarten the fuck up, Dennis. Smarten the fuck up.
All right, so I want you to translate to Morozov that Dennis 100% knew he was supposed to give away the hammer,
I
and I
know, I
want
know.
his opinion on that.
I will. Ответ Девона, ну, он не был с тобой согласен насчет ответа, потому что Денису много раз объясняли и на английском, и на русском, и через письма, и лично то, что значило это письмо. Он не мог просто не так понять то, что не вноси изменения, а не оставляя его у себя. Он не мог это просто так неправильно принять, потому что он лично видел передавание молота на правую руку тоже. И он мог понять, ну вот, когда Денис заболел, потом случился коронавирус, потом King of the Table, и он соревновался. И в этот период было понятно то, что он не чемпион. А в этот момент были вы, Лалетин, Алижан и так далее. Он считает то, что вот Денис просто, ну, специально его оставил у себя. Он видит. Письмо показывает.
Мгм.
I don't know if you can see that. Can you read it? Is that too fuzzy?
We can read it, yeah.
Всё
Or
видно.
You read Russian?
I
Я
cannot, but he
John
can.
Эрик принес ремонт, который я писал тогда.
Мгм. Ну, я, в общем, понял все. Видите, я же этого всего не знаю. Не мне же письмо присылали. Ну, как бы, ну, тоже его за это начинать хейтить, не знаю. Короче, я бы так не стал, например, делать. И, ну, я обоих могу понять. И Девона могу понять, и Дениса могу понять. Мне сложно. Как бы и Денис, и Девон — это мои кумиры, поэтому я не знаю, что
Okay,
делать.
so he never saw these letters, and it's hard for him because you're his idol as well, Devon. Dennis is his idol, and he can understand both of you in this situation, and he's not sure what to do in this moment because he likes both of you basically, and he agrees with both of you.
I understand it's a difficult position. I understand that Artem's in a difficult position. And I'll say the same back to him. I'm a huge fan of Artem Morozov. I think he's very, very smart, an incredible champion, incredible fighter. I've followed him his whole career. One day I will be
Thank you.
honored to face him on the table. I watch everything he does, superstar. And I understand he's in a difficult position. There's many forces that are pulling at him and wanting him to say things, and he doesn't want to offend it. It's not his problem. It's not his problem. Um, and that's fine. And that's fine. And this is what I suspect, and this is what I understand. But the truth is, he doesn't. It's not his job to say it. Okay. Unfortunately, it's mine. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's my responsibility that I have to call it Dennis. Otherwise, this thing was going to die with him potentially, or just not have the names that it should. It's Vitaly and Artem's names should be on there. In 15 years, in 25 years, if both those names are on that hammer, there's a mistake. It's wrong. So that's why he doesn't have to say it, but I know it. I know that Dennis is in the wrong. I know that so someone had to do it. And yeah, maybe I was a bit rough, but it's 6 years. It's 6 years. 2 years without a defense for a champion under injury and under COVID. I get it. 3 years, 4 years. Okay. COVID. I get it. After 4 years, dude, your time is up. Your time is up. Like, what are you doing? But give it to Vitaly. Give it to Arnold.
All right. So I was going to ask actually, if you were to ever win the left-handed hammer, do you think it would be a good idea to retroactively place names that should have been placed on that hammer?
Look at whoever wins the hammer, whoever has the hammer can basically do whatever they want with it. I've heard some great ideas. Okay. Great ideas that I've heard is actually going backwards. Okay. I've heard some fantastic ideas out there. There are people who have the lineal champion. They've done it. Arm wrestling. Eric Roussan has it all mapped out. There's other guys who have mapped the lineal champion. I don't think it's a bad idea to put those names in reverse. Have them go back. I don't care. I think that's a great idea. If I saw that, I'd be like, good fucking move, champion who holds the hammer now to make those changes. But yeah, these are not my decisions until I hold the hammer. If I held the hammer,
Well, the
that would
question
be
is
something.
aimed at you under the assumption that you win the hammer.
Well, that would be if I'm a bit of a lazy dude. Okay, I pretty much sit on my couch and I train and I have a good time. But if I had the time and energy, I would certainly think that that would be a great thing to leave behind. Yeah.
Okay. So my next question is for Devon. Why do you think that Dennis held the hammer for so long? If you genuinely had to assume, because you believe that he, without a shadow of doubt, knew what he was supposed to do, why did he hold on to it?
I don't know. I wish I knew. If I could answer that, I probably wouldn't have bothered him so much. I don't know. I don't know whether he's just thinking about other things or somehow. I've thought about it a lot. I thought, so maybe he's just being lazy, okay, which I understand. I'm lazy all the time, okay. Maybe he thinks that no one has surpassed his prime, okay. There's this prime mythical beast of 2000, and maybe he thinks no one's surpassed that level, so he doesn't feel it's worth passing on. Um, I don't know, I don't know, but either way, to me, he needs to be kicked.
All right. And the next question was, do you think there's a chance that you two could bury the hatchet? Since that is the goal of
Bury
this,
it. Let's bury it on November the 2nd. Let's bury it on November the 2nd.
I don't think another match would bury the hatchet is the issue.
No, I
I don't
mean,
think so.
the
I think
last
that
match
would that
we
would
had,
that would
the
bring
last
another
match we
hatchet.
had was great for our relationship.
So I take that as a no.
Look it. I have many friends. Okay. I feel like I'm in a wonderful place in my life. I'm surrounded with people that I love. I have loved and respected Dennis to a massive degree, and that part of him will forever be with me. The respect and admiration I have for Dennis will never die. It won't. But right now, today, okay, we are enemies. You know, would I attend Dennis's funeral? Yes. He's an incredible champion. Incredible champion. Are we friends right now? No.
Okay, could you roughly translate all that just because I want Artem to be in the loop?
Сейчас вкратце переведем все, что сейчас было. Он понимает тебя тоже, потому что он твой фанат, но тут нужно было говорить, и пришлось ему это сделать. То, что вот никто не говорил про молот. Если бы он ничего не делал, тогда бы он умер. У него спросили насчет того, что была бы ли хорошая идея, если бы молот был бы у него, вписать туда ваши имена с Виталием, например. В теории он бы мог это сделать, потому что владелец молота может сделать все. Дальше был вопрос насчет того, что почему Денис все еще не отдает молот. И да, он предположил, что это либо потому, что ему лень, потому что он понимает его, и он точно такой же ленивый, постоянно ничего не делает, кушает, тренируется. Либо ему кажется то, что Денис, вот этот пик Дениса, ему кажется, что его еще не превзошли. И он не чувствует обязанности отдавать молот на левую, потому что ему кажется, что его пиковая версия была все еще сильнее, чем кто-либо сейчас на левой. Вот так. И вот на этом, в принципе, все, да. Вкратце
Ну, там
перевел.
половину понимают, там
Да.
где-то 30% понимаю. Так вот, почаще надо общаться, может, выучу.
Последний вопрос к Девону еще был, то что кажется ли им то, что вот если состоится еще один матч 2 ноября, может ли он как-то исправить их отношения, подружатся ли они заново? Девону кажется, что это вполне возможно. Но сейчас он говорит, то, что я никогда не забуду все уважение к этому человеку, потому что это великий спортсмен. Но сейчас мы враги. Как бы друзья ли мы сейчас? Нет. Но он выразился так, что вот приду я на его похороны, то да. Но сейчас они враги, к сожалению. Но он никогда не
Ну, я
забудет.
понимаю.
Все уважение к Денису у него все еще есть в плане того, что какой-то спортсмен.
Ну, они в этом похожи, на самом деле.
He says
Денис
that you're
тоже.
similar in that way. The way you described your relationship with Dennis, the fact that you respect his achievements in the sport, but he is your enemy. He says that you're similar in that position. That technically you're not friends now.
All right. So I now have a question for Morozov. How do you feel about how Devon has acted during all this, and what should Devon have done differently in order to get the hammer given to you?
Вот. Какие твои сейчас ощущения по поводу того, как Девон себя вел, и считаешь ли ты, то, что он мог поступить как-то по-другому, чтобы Денис передал тебе молот? Мог ли он что-то сделать иначе?
Я думаю, на самом деле мог, конечно, поступить по-другому, но т- из-за того, что вот он так сделал, намного больше стали про молоты говорить, стали говорить про пояса, и в этом большой плюс для армрестлинга в целом. То есть у меня вот, например, в городе, где я живу, вообще не знали, что пояса какие-то есть у меня. А тут все начали, вот там что, пояса есть, а вот этот молот. У меня мама Я смотрел видео как раз в Ютубе, на кухне сидел, кушал, смотрел видео, и мама, и там про молот как раз говорят. И мама говорит, а у тебя есть такой? И я говорю, нету. Надо забрать, говорит. Ну, все хорошо. Скоро приедет, говорю. Ну, так что в этом, как бы, в любом
Yeah.
случае, молот бы перешел. Просто, возможно, из-за того, что Девон так вот начал себя вести, это случилось
Это
быстрее.
ускорило процесс, да.
Да, да.
He thinks that you obviously could have made different decisions and do it differently, but the way you did it, it brought more attention to the hammer. It accelerated all the stuff that could happen later on. Even the people in his city that never knew about the bells or the rewards, they're like, oh, there's a hammer. Even his mom, when she was sitting in the kitchen, she was watching the video and she saw the hammer and she asked him, oh, do you have one? He said, no, I don't. And she said that you should have one, you should take one. And so he thinks that the way you did it, even though you could have did it differently, you made it faster. You brought more eyes to it, brought more attention.
Now I have a follow-up question for Morozov. Dennis held on to the hammer for 6 years while being questioned repeatedly about it. Does he actually think Dennis would have eventually given it up had Devon done nothing?
Такой вопрос еще встречный. Денис 6 лет держал молот у себя, да, хоть у него и просили. И кажется ли тебе, что он бы вообще его отдал, если бы Девон сейчас ничего не делал бы?
Блин, я не знаю. Возможно, вот Девон до этого говорил, что, возможно, лень, там, он любит только, ну, видите, я вот эту всю, как бы, я не живу с Денисом, я не знаю, какие у него привычки там. Может быть, он вообще про него забыл. Может, ему действительно было лень. Не знаю я. Я тоже ленивый, я бы тоже, наверное, лет 6 его у себя держал, никому бы не отдал, а то и больше. А то, может быть, я вообще бы забыл, что это у меня за молот такой, и пошел бы гвозди забивать. Ну, вот такой, бывает такое. Не знаю я, не знаю.
He says
Но
that... Ну,
в любом случае бы отдал. Просто я считаю, что можно было, может, немножко помягче, помягче.
So he thinks that maybe Dennis was really lazy and he just didn't care enough for the hammer to actually give it away. But he feels like you could have made it a little bit easier on him and you could have been a little softer, basically.
And what do you think about that, Devon?
6 years. There was softness for a long time.
6 лет, говорит он, у него был, и были бы мягко к этому относились.
Ну, да.
He said,
На самом
yes.
деле, на самом деле, вот пока речи не зашло за молот, я и не, как бы сам забыл об этом, о том, что Девон передал когда-то Денису молот, пока речь за него не зашло. Вот, ну, вот месяц назад или сколько, 2 недели назад. Я и сам забыл про это.
He
Потому
said that
что,
actually...
потому что я на тот момент, вот, когда 2018 год, я тогда по юниорам там боролся, вообще маленький был
Да.
еще.
So he says that actually, when you brought it up, that was the day that I remembered that it actually exists. Because he forgot that you actually gave it to Dennis. Because in 2018, he was competing in juniors. He was just starting up. So you reminded him that the hammer actually exists.
Вообще, ну, все же, я не знаю, если бы все 6 лет вот эти был какой-то разговор про молот, потому что я вот это 2 недели назад только, вот когда все началось, я только об этом вспомнил. Если бы как-то это почаще было на слуху, то, может быть, и о нем все помнили. Ну, помимо тех, кто живет в Канаде, там, Северной Америке. А так у нас здесь как бы о них не знают. У нас тут про пояса-то не знают, где я живу.
So he thinks maybe if on the span of 6 years, it would be bring up more often, that people would talk about it more. People outside of Canada and North America would know about it because in his city, people don't even know about the belts, and the belt is a recent reward. So he thinks maybe if people talked about it more often, bring it up, it would have been more open to the community, because even he forgot about it.
All right. Do you have anything to say about that, Devon, or should I go to the next question?
Next question.
All right. This is for Devon. How are you going to treat Dennis going forward? Can you two be in the same room together, or is there going to be some animosity between you two?
No, there's animosity. Like, I mean, all the messages I get from Denis and Denis's camp is he hates me. And I mean, and I don't really care. I really don't. For me, like, he's another guy, and I'd like to arm wrestle him. And because he beat me, obviously I want that match back. Okay. And his fucking retarded fucking mob of fans online that are always spamming 2018, that just makes me want to beat him even worse. Okay. Like, if there's one person that I can beat, Denis the plank off left hand. Get him ready. Get that fucking guy ready. Okay, hammer, whatever. I want Denis the plank off. Get him ready. Get him healthy. He talks about arm wrestling somebody else. Arm wrestle me, Denis. Arm wrestle me. I'm 10 years older than you. I'm lighter than you. You're supposed to be the greatest left-handed ever. I'm just some dude. Let me pull you one more time. I don't care to be friends with him. I'd much rather have him as a competitor. I'd much rather have him as an enemy than a friend. I want an enemy in Denis. I want to fight him. I want to fight him on the table. That's what I want.
So then the second part of that question is, can you two be in a room together? Since you two will be in a room together fairly soon, is that going to be an issue?
I'll talk shit, see what he does. You know, he's going to be at that event. He's going to be there. Okay. He'll probably be right at the front. Don't think for a second I'm not going to talk to him.
Okay.
Don't think for 1 second that I'm just going to be like, oh, nice to see you, Denis. No, it's going to be like, let's get on the fucking table, you big fucking clown. Let's get on the table, you big ogre. Like, let's sort this out, or get healthy and let's do it again. I don't want to sit and have tea with them. I don't want to do that. I don't care. I don't care for it.
Now, I have a question. Do you actually think that your left-handed match could happen? So he says he's very injured on his left.
Me? Yes.
Well, yeah, I understand from your end. He says
Yeah.
he's very injured on his left and he may never compete left-handed again. Do you think that's him running away from you, or do you think he's genuinely injured?
I've had 2 surgeries on my right. I've had a surgery on my left. Don't talk to me about injuries, okay? I've been shot. I've been fucking blown up. I've crashed out of helicopters. I've fucking fallen out of parachutes. My body's been broken over and over and over. Okay, what are you telling me? Denis can't come back? Oh, Denis at 41 is dead? Okay, fucking smarten up, Denis. Smarten up. Okay, you're not dead. All right, I know Denis very well. Okay, I've studied him. I've watched him. Okay, Denis in his life wants to fight. Okay, fight me, Denis. Fight me. When you're ready. When you're ready. I'll tell you, it's not going to get any worse. It's not going to get any better for him. Okay? Best chance for him is 2nd of November after I weigh in at 105. Because I probably won't stay there. Probably won't. You know, if he wants to pull me now. Or set a date, but I'm just getting stronger.
All right. Now I have a question for Artem Morozov. Your left hand is injured. Now the hammer is going from one injured person to another injured person. When do you think you're going to be able to compete left-handed again?
Вот вопрос к тебе такой, что у тебя сейчас левая травмирована. И получается, что от человека с травмированной левой молот переходит к еще одному человеку с травмированной левой. И когда ты сможешь бороться еще снова?
На самом деле уже левая рука вполне рабочая, то есть я могу тренировать и боковое движение, ну, сайд нажимы, то есть уже лучше, даже где-то даже как правая, то есть и уже есть договоренность, что вот в 25-м году я буду бороться с Виталием на левой руке в начале года.
Okay, so his left arm is actually feeling better. He already can train side pressure, and actually in some lanes it's as good as his right, almost. And he has an agreement in 2025, in the first half of the year. He will pull Vitaly.
All right. So then I have a question for him. His right-handed match against Vitaly was not close. What makes him think that his left-handed match would be closer?
Вот вы с Виталием на правой боролись, и там близко не было. Что тебя заставляет думать, то, что вот на левой у тебя намного больше шансов, да? Почему матч на левой должен быть ближе и соревновательнее?
Ну, во-первых, я не люблю оправдываться, как бы, но я допустил очень много ошибок в подготовке к этому матчу, в принципе, в ментальной, физической подготовке. Очень много ошибок допустил. И вот после, знаете, очень тяжело бороться с другом. Мы как бы все очень хорошо общаемся. Я и с Камилом вроде нормально общались. Он такой приветливый, улыбчивый парень. Но когда я выходил бороться с Камилом, я не считал его другом. Когда я выходил бороться с Виталием, он был для меня лучшим другом. То есть мы все время проводили вместе. И мне действительно было тяжело перестроиться. Я не знаю, если бы я боролся вот в таком состоянии, в каком я боролся с Камилом, я не знаю, какой бы исход матча был с Виталием. Был бы я сильнее, стал бы я лучше бороться, я не знаю. Ну, у меня еще есть время и подготовиться, и стать лучше, и психологически подойти к этому поединку хорошо. Виталий, Виталий прекрасно понимает, что, в принципе, э, по силе, например, на той же правой руке мы примерно равны. Он это сам говорил мне. Не знаю, правду ли он, утешал ли он меня или нет этим самым. Ну, просто он взрывной, быстрый. А мне было сложно настроиться. Вот в поединке с Камилом он тоже очень быстрый. У него сильная вот этот лоб,
Да.
очень сильная. Но у меня получилось как бы э, здесь раньше включиться, раньше стартовать. Вот так как-то. Посмотрим. Будет отличный поединок, я считаю.
Okay, so he doesn't like to make excuses, but he feels like he made a lot of mistakes while prepping physically and mentally. He feels like it's very hard to fight with your best friend. He talks with Camille as well. He's a fun guy, but when he was pulling Camille, he didn't feel like it was his friend. He was just fighting with him. But when he was pulling with Vitaly, he just had the feeling that he's fighting with his best friend. And now on the lefty, right now, he will make a better time with preparation, with mentally. He will try to get better. And actually, Vitaly said that on the right arm, their levels are pretty similar, but he doesn't know if Vitaly was just going easy on him and making him feel better.
Oh, okay.
He just knows that the fight will be very good.
So he believes he made some mental mistakes against Vitaly, maybe taking his foot off the gas a little bit, and that's why he lost. Okay. Now I have a question for you, Devon, and then this is the end of my written questions, and then we're gonna go to more freestyle, letting you two talk about whatever you want. Okay. What makes you so confident that you could beat 2018 Denis now?
Well, a lot of it is poking him. Confident is not probably the right word. I think that in 28, the truth is in 2018, I wanted it to be a right hand match. Tried to get it to be a right hand. We tried to get a right hand match with Denis for 10 years. And it just fell through. No, it's nothing. PAL offered the left-hand match because I actually held the PAL left-handed belt from when I beat Pushkar. So they were insisting that it be a left-handed match. I had just had surgery like a year and a half prior, and I wasn't in my best shape, really. I wanted to fight very badly. I wanted to meet Denis. I wanted to compete against him. I didn't have the highest of expectations. I wanted to do it. I wanted to give him the hammer because I felt that he deserved it. Now my left hand, when it's prepared, it's much different now. It's much different. My left hand is not the same as my right. It is faster. It does not have as many miles. It's not as injured. It's not as strong. It's not as endurant, but it's faster and it's stronger. I think that I would have enough in a prepared version of myself now to take Denis's hand in 2018. I do. And I know people will think I'm crazy, but I've made my entire career about being crazy. And I think I'd beat him. I do. I think I'd take his wrist and I think I'd gas him out. I think that in arm wrestling matches, I mean, what can look like a complete domination might only be a few percentage. And I just think I'm a better arm wrestler than he is, period.
All right. So now I want to kind of go into freestyle because I know you had some questions for Morozov earlier, Devon. Ask him whatever you want.
Maybe he has a question for me first. Maybe he has one.
I was about to say, so can you translate to Morozov that he can
Да.
ask Devon anything he wants?
Написанные вопросы сейчас закончились, и пошли вопросы, которые вы хотите задать друг другу просто так. И вот интересно, у тебя есть какой-нибудь вопрос к Теону? Просто любой, который тебе интересно.
Девон первый будет задавать или я задам
Ты
первый?
задал.
Блин, здесь надо подумать. Вы же мне не сказали, может, я бы подготовился как-то.
You said that...
Девон,
Окей.
Девон, вот первый вопрос. Девон, привезешь ли ты в этот раз рыбок в Стамбул, которых ты привозил в Дубай? Рыбки.
Рыбки. He asking if you will bring some fishes to the East versus West. I don't know what fishes they are, but he asked you bring them to the Dubai. Yeah. Согласен, явно это хороший знак.
Why not? I bring the fishes.
All right. And then Devon, what questions do you have?
Фишка.
Которые на кепку, что ли, надевались? Или которые?
Ну, Девон понял, о чем я говорю. Девон understand. Фишка.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, be a fun night. Maybe many people join us. Yeah.
Будет, говорит, веселая ночь. Может, много людей к нам
Big
присоединится.
after pull. Okay, I just have really one question. And for me, it's dangerous, I feel, even to ask the question. And if Artem doesn't want to answer, totally understand, completely understand. Okay, so just maybe translate that part first.
У него вопрос, который опасно, возможно, задавать, и на который ты, возможно, даже не захочешь отвечать. Такой вот у него. Всего один вопрос.
Да, без проблем. Ничего страшного,
No
если он
problem.
задаст. Ничего опасного нет. Может
Go
быть,
on,
не
guys.
отвечу, но я постараюсь.
Maybe I will not answer that, but I will try.
Okay, so for me, there's just over the course of this interview, all my time with Artem, everything is good. There's a slight incongruency. There's something a little bit out of line. And I suppose, I mean, I don't even feel like I need to ask the question because I'm very sure, but I'm curious if the post with the belts and all the answers that he put forth in that post were from his own motivation.
Вот все эти посты с ремнями и ответы, которые ты делал, ты сам это отвечал? Это все было от тебя?
Ну, и опять же, я же отвечал уже на этот вопрос. Это все было из-за того, что вот начался хейт в сторону Дениса. То есть мне хотелось таким образом за него как бы вступиться, сделать немножко шоу. Поэтому я не знаю, почему Девон обиделся на фотографию с поясами. Опять же, он хотел превознести свой молот. Ну, не свой, а молот наследия, да. Но я в то же время думаю, почему ты так нападаешь на Дениса из-за молота? Ведь есть пояса. А ты из-за молота нападаешь на Дениса. Поэтому так. Денис хороший друг мой просто. И я хотел сделать шоу просто. Поэтому и видео снял под песню из Шрека.
So all the answers he said, it's because he feels like Dennis is his best friend. and he did all the show, all the videos, all the responses. It's just he felt like he could get on Dennis's side to protect him a little bit because he said that you're bringing up the hammer when we have the belts of the East versus West. So he bring them up while you were bringing up the hammer.
So very different from what he said during this interview.
То есть совсем другое, что ты говорил до этого на интервью.
На
Получается.
интервью?
В этом интервью.
Я опять же говорю, нет, это не другое. На тот момент, на тот момент мне вот захотелось таким образом встать на защиту Дениса. Но при этом, при всем, я уважаю и ценю то, что Девон делает, и его молот наследия. Молот наследия.
He said at the time in the beginning, he felt like he should step up for Dennis, but he still feels like he respects your opinion on the Legacy Hammer and he agrees with it. It's not different. He says it's not different.
See, to me, it's different, you know, because to me, you've said very clearly that you value the hammer. And even in your private messages to me, you told me that you value the hammer. And you talk about clicks and putting on a show, yet publicly, you devalue the hammer.
Вот ты, говорит, в личку мне писал, то, что ты уважаешь этот молот и все это наследие, и сейчас это тоже говорю. Все нормально. И сейчас тоже это говоришь. Но вот так на публику получается то, что ты опускаешь этот молот, когда снимаешь все эти видео с ремнями. Ради всего этого шоу и остального.
Я тоже могу сказать, что вот сейчас Девон говорит, что уважает Дениса, например, да, как он чемпион там, да. На публику-то он тоже его опускает, как бы, понимаешь?
He says
Вот в
that,
чем дело.
yeah, да.
Если бы не было вот такого отношения к Денису, да, если бы, опять же, я отвечал на этот вопрос, можно было в течение всех этих 6 лет говорить о молоте, тогда бы о нем никто не забыл, и я бы тоже помнил о нем, например. Я бы мог Денису сказать: Денис, там, отдай молот, например, да. Но вот из-за того, что вот такое отношение к Денису, поэтому я решил вот так немножко насчет молота. Но это не отменяет того, что я говорил в начале, и не отменяет того, что я писал Девону до всего до всего, что началось.
So he said that he can say the same thing about you. The way you say that you still respect Dennis as his achievements in the sport, but you still hate on him. He said the same thing right now. The videos, all the stuff he said about the hammer, it doesn't cancel out all the stuff he said to you in the private messages, the respect. He just felt like all the harsh stuff to Dennis made him feel like he should defend him a little bit, go on his side.
Defend him by degrading the hammer?
К словам класса. То есть защищать Дениса в плане тем, что опускаешь молот, получается.
Я еще раз повторюсь. Он говорит о молоте, но опускает Дениса, понимаешь? Вот почему так получилось. Я же не отказываюсь, я же принимаю его, я его почищу, отполирую, там, внесу изменения и передам дальше, если, если будет нужно. Никаких проблем.
He says that way you are bringing up the hammer by degrading Dennis. He doesn't deny the hammer. He will accept it, he will polish it, he will make the changes, and when the time will come, he will pass it down.
But he publicly calls it a piece of junk.
Но публично ты называешь это хламом.
Если Девон хочет, чтобы дождаться от меня извинений, то я извиняюсь, Девон, за это. И я беру все, что вот такое вот писал, например. Извиняюсь, но опять же, когда я его приму, скажут же, что я пиздобол. Понимаешь? Когда я приму его, сфотографирую, скажешь, что я пиздобол. Ну, в чем
Туда-сюда,
проблема?
сюда, да.
Да.
So if what you want is an apology, I
Oh, look
apologize.
I'm just
I do.
curious. Look at all I don't want an apology. I just see incongruency. I see in private messages between Artem and I see in this discussion here today, everything he said, yet publicly, he said something completely different. So I just don't understand. I'm looking, and what I thought, and that's why I asked if they were his words. And he's saying it's his words, and I still don't get it. If they were someone else's words, I get it. But if he's
So
saying they're his words, it doesn't add up to me. The whole thought process, he's saying he thought I was picking on Denis, so he wanted to stick up for Denis. But instead of attacking me, he attacked the hammer, which to me, I think Artem's a smart guy. I think he's highly intelligent. So I don't understand what's going on.
So the way I look at this is you're accusing him of having someone else putting words in his mouth, and
That
he's
was my question.
acting
That
like
was
a
my
puppet, is what you're
question.
claiming.
That was my question. And if I'm wrong, then I'm even more confused because to me it just doesn't add up. And I think he's a smart guy, but how can you publicly attack a hammer when you're trying to go after me? Okay, I'm not the hammer. I'm not the hammer. Okay, you want to attack me for my behavior to Denis? Okay, attack me. Okay, don't attack the hammer. Okay, this doesn't make sense. That's why I'm trying to understand what is going on here.
So I would like if you ask point blank to Artem Morozov, did someone else tell him to post
I
those
did.
things about the hammer?
I
No,
did.
I'm telling him to ask that.
Короче, грубо говоря, тебе прямо в лоб сейчас задают вопрос. Писал ли кто-то другой эти посты про молоты, в ремни, вот все вот это вот, то, что сейчас было?
Нет, это я все
Или
сам написал.
просил тебя? No, he said that it's all him. He said all that.
So Devon, clearly you think he was told by someone else because you
Okay,
think
it's
it's
just the
just
only thing.
inconsistent.
I shouldn't even dig because it's so ugly. But the thing is it just to me there's incongruencies because we had private discussions and I can show them. He was talking about how much he's looking forward to putting his name on the hammer. Yes, I publicly attacked his friend. Okay. For him to degrade the hammers at that time, I was like, what is going on here? What is going on? Like, I would understand attacking me, sticking up for your friend. Okay. But to degrade the hammers is something else completely. It's a completely different strategy avenue. You say he's sticking up for his friend, you're still receiving the hammer and you say you're happy about it. So you're it doesn't add up. You say you're happy to accept it, but you're calling it a piece of junk it doesn't work. It's not in a line. So that's why I'm saying I'm confused. I don't understand why he would say things privately and publicly and then also have this one thing that is not congruent. It doesn't line up with Artem Morozov's statement, the way I know him, what he said today, what he said in private messages. So I'm willing just to let it go. Really, I am at this point. I think everything's going to be fine. But I sometimes maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe I'm paranoid. But I think someone's up to fucking no good.
All right, so I have another question for you, Devon, because you didn't really ask Morozov a question there, so we're going to move on. Do you think that the Gauntlet was a way to undermine the hammer?
What is the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet that East vs. West made.
Tell me what it is.
It's a thing that is intended to be passed on champion to champion for the strongest right and left hand on the planet.
What is different from it than the East versus West super heavyweight belt?
I don't think there's much difference, to be honest.
Told him though.
I think they're probably supposed to move on with
What
each
makes
other.
the Gauntlet different than the super heavyweight belt?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you. You think I have the answers?
As of who owns it, I don't think there's any difference.
When East versus West, who holds it? When East versus West eventually falls, because nothing lasts forever, arm wrestling does. When East versus West eventually falls, will the Gauntlet leave East versus West? Will names be?
I
Is it
believe
just
he
a
said no.
replacement?
I believe he said no. It will not
Okay,
be
so
moving out of East versus
it's
West.
just the super heavyweight belt, and now we got a Gauntlet too. It's not. I don't know. You tell me what it means. The gauntlet
Well,
to me.
okay. The question I'm asking to you is, do you think that that was made in reaction to the hammer? Because it did come out at a very suspicious time, I will say. It came out right during all the hammer
There's many
drama.
things that are suspicious. There's many things that are suspicious. You know, I've had much time to ponder. I think that in many ways, I'm like a dog. And I'm like a dog, and if you throw a steak in my mouth, I'll shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And someone still might be robbing the house. You know what I mean? And I don't want to talk too much, but you know, like we talked about enemy of the sport earlier, and I do take that stuff seriously, but nobody here is an enemy of the sport. No one here that we're talking about or even loosely talking about is an enemy of the sport. But I do want us all to realize that arm wrestling is something that we all love, and we will do it in our garages, regardless of league, regardless of legacy trophy, regardless of gauntlet, regardless of money. I will practice arm wrestling until I die. And I'm just maybe sensitive about some things. But when somebody pays me, I can shut the fuck up for a little bit.
Are you claiming that someone has thrown you a steak?
I think I think that I've definitely been thrown a steak or two in my day. Uh, but I also think that anyone who tries to damage the sport or any of its belongings, you see, if someone robs my house, I would take that very seriously. It's my property, it's my ownership. Um, if someone attacks my country, I would take great offense to that. Just as great, maybe even greater, you know? Um, if someone attacked the sport that I love or any of its belongings, I would take offense to that as well. Okay. And all I'm saying is you fucking give me enough steak, I'm like a dog, okay? Like, I mean, I can shut the fuck up sometimes, but eventually it gets fucking kind of weird. You know, there's a lot of weird shit going on.
All right. I would like you to translate most of that to Morozov because that was a
Good
lot.
luck. Good luck.
And then I'd also like you to ask him the same question. Do you think that the gauntlet was a way to undermine the hammer? And then we're going to call the interview.
Сейчас мы отмотаем чуть назад. Изначально был вопрос опять Девона к тебе про то, что какие-то несостыковки тем, то, что ты говоришь про молот, потом ремни, защищаешь Дениса тем, что принижаешь молот, а не Девона. Но он сказал, что это все забудем, короче, это не важно. Они
Ну, я это
перешли...
понял. Просто
Да,
вот давай сейчас я скажу, ты запомнишь, потом переведешь.
хорошо.
Опять же, там Девон атакует Дениса, да? А мне, в смысле я буду атаковать Девона? Мне что, на
Но ты
человека,
имел в
который
виду, что это
ставится?
было нелогично, то есть защищать Дениса тем, что
Почему?
нападаешь на молот, а не на Девона. Он имел в виду, что как
Ну,
раз-таки имело бы логику нападать на него, но просто
и,
зацикливаться на этом сейчас смысла нету, про то, что он сказал то, что он просто это все забудет, потому что сейчас все хорошо. Денис отправляет молот
ну,
тебе, и все наладилось.
как я могу Девона атаковать? Во-первых, он меня старше на 23 года. Мне что его? Мне что, писать ему гадости, что ли? Про него что-то плохое говорить? Или что? Максимум, что вот я могу, это снять видео с молотком, и все. Ну, которое там выложил себе. Мне что, про него гадости говорить? Нет. Понятное дело, если он атакует Дениса из-за молота, да, то я буду атаковать молота, а не Девона. Мне нафига Девона атаковать? А вдруг он мне голову оторвет потом? Что, с ума сошли, что ли?
Да, не оторвет, добро. Дальше был вопрос про перчатку. Вот недавно то, что выложили перчатка. И вопрос был такой к Девону, то что какая разница вообще между перчаткой и ремнем? И была ли сделана перчатка в ответ к молоту? И Девон на это интересно ответил, говорит то, что Эта перчатка, она абсолютно никак не отличается от ремня, потому что на ней, когда East versus West падет, а это произойдет когда-либо, но это произойдет, получается, что это будет точно такой же ремень, и никакой разницы между ремнем нет. Дальше был вопрос. What was the question after the gauntlet?
Do you think that the gauntlet was a way to undermine the hammer?
No, after that, there was no questions, right?
No, no question. Yeah, that was the last question.
Окей. Да, и после этого Девон поговорил еще про то, что очень много непонятных вещей сейчас происходит, и то, что он как пес, если ему дают стейк, то он молчит. Я не совсем понял, к чему это было, но, скорее всего, это было про молот.
Стейк. Стейк?
Он как пес, и когда ему дают стейк, то он замолкает.
Типа я понял.
No. Okay, do you have... oh, by the way, Devon, he
yeah. Could
went
you
back...
translate what he said?
Yeah, he went back to the question between like Dennis and the hammer. He said, "There's no way I could attack you because you're like 20, 25 years older than me. The most I can do is just to make a funny video with a belt, and that's it."
Oh, listen, I don't mind. It's fine. I think I don't have a problem with it. I just there was incongruency that I didn't understand
Yeah.
because all the statements before and now are in line, and then there's this incident of the timing of the post and the comments that were in that thread that completely didn't add up to me. They just didn't add up with what I believe is Artem's character. That's why I was curious. That's why all this happened between us. And I still am not really sure, but I'll let it go.
All right, so we're going to end it off here. We're going to do closing remarks. Devon, you say what you want to the people, and then we'll let Morozov do it, and then that'll be the end of the interview.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Thanks so much for having us. You got a very small channel right now, but I think you're going to blow up. I got tons
Hey,
of
you do
respect.
not need to add very before small. We could just say a small channel. We don't need to say a very small
You're
channel.
just starting. You're just starting, but I can tell you're a huge fan and lover of the sport, and you're a smart guy. So I'm honored to be on here early, we'll say. Look forward to watching all your stuff. I love the way you cover arm wrestling. Morozov, big fan. Thank you, brother from Georgia. I love that you wear the hoodie, man.
Of course.
We'll see all you guys the best. Can't wait. I got to train hard. So thanks for your time.
See you
All
at
right,
the
now
event,
ask
buddy.
Morozov for closing remarks. We're not done yet.
Да. Тем, у тебя тоже такой вопрос. То есть вот, наконец, что бы ты мог сказать людям, кто сейчас смотрит стрим? Последние твои слова, грубо говоря, перед концом интервью.
Последние мои слова, они не последние, крайние.
Ну, не последние, да.
Да, еще скажем свое слово. Пожелать удачи могу, здоровья, без травм. И может быть, кому-то из них достанется молот, пояс. И у меня он щит висит, сейчас покажу, подожди. Щит буду передавать тоже. Как тут поменять сторону? Зум.
Развернуть
Во.
камеру.
Во.
He said there's a shield as well on his wall.
Так что вот, будем тоже передавать. Вот такие дела. Может быть, кто-то из них станет обладателем щита, пояса и молота. То есть весь в броне будет.
He's saying that this is to the guys that are watching right now. No injuries, stay healthy, stay massive, and maybe the shield, the belts, they will get passed down as well to the guys that are watching right now.
All right, and now my very last question, Devon. Should the people at home like, subscribe, and comment nice things about me?
You're the man, Henry. You're the man. Keep killing it, buddy.
All right, now ask Morozov the same thing. Should the people at home like, subscribe, and say nice things about me in the comments?
И тебе тоже вопрос, Тёма. Должны ли люди сейчас нажать на кнопку подписаться и в комментариях хорошие вещи говорить про Генри нашего и про вас обоих тоже?
Вы знаете, ребят, если вы не подпишетесь, вы будете болеть.
Сильно?
Так что надо... Да. Минимум коронавирус.
Ага. Okay, so if you do not get subscribed right now, you will get very sick. At least it's gonna be coronavirus.
So
So
they're
you
gonna
better,
get like super AIDS if they don't subscribe.
yep,
And they're hearing
you
that
better
from the
be careful.
left-handed world champion. Is that correct?
Yep,
So they got to listen. All right. Thank you, both
better
of
be
you, for
careful.
coming on. I appreciate it greatly. And we're going to call it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.